Hello and welcome to another video. In this one, we're going to be talking about Python packaging again, everyone's favorite topic. And in this video, we're going to be talking about optional dependencies. This one was actually asked in a recent live stream, and in particular, they were asking about PyTest's usage of this, and I'm going to explain how it works. Let's jump into that. Okay, so for today, we're going to be making a setup tools based project. So if we open up setup.py, which is, how you do setup tool stuff, from setup tools import setup, we're just going to make a very, very simple package, 0.0.0, and this is kind of how you, the very basics that you would need from a package. We're going to set up a virtual environment here as well, and we're just going to install this package. And the way you can install something from setup.py in the current directory is just pip install dot. And you'll see when I install this, it installed foo, and so if we pip freeze, you'll see that it, says that foo is installed and it knows where it came from. And the first thing that we're going to cover here is intentional dependencies, or I guess like required dependencies. And in setup tools, you do this with the install requires option. And that is a list of package names that you would want to install. So let's say that this required, I don't know, some library that I wrote, CFGV, for instance. And so now when we pip uninstall -y foo, we're just gonna forcibly uninstall and then reinstall the package. So, oops. I'm just sending all the output of the uninstall to dev null because I don't particularly care about it. And so now you'll see that when I install foo, it also installs the config-v package, so it brings along everything in install requires. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is optional requirements. And the way you set up optional requirements in setup tools is by using the extras require mapping. I think it's extras require. Let me double check. I can't remember whether it's extra requires or extras require. Looks like it's extras require. Okay, cool. This is the PyTest one that they were asking about. And this is actually setup.cfg, which is the declarative form of setup.py. I'm just showing it in setup.py because it's a little bit easier to explain here. And the way you specify extras require is you name the extra. The recommendation that I've seen for naming extras is that you don't put dashes or underscores in them. Because some tools will get grumpy about it, and there is a point in time where like pip normalized these in a way that made it impossible to install stuff with underscores and dashes. I think that's all fixed now, but I just like a word of caution that I usually name these without having dashes or underscores in them. So let's say, for instance, like maybe my library provided special functionality when Flask was installed. So I might say like, Flask is my extra name, and when you install foo with the Flask extra, it needs to install, Flask and maybe some other Flask library. And so you'll see again, if I run this again, this actually doesn't do anything. So you'll notice that we tried to install config-v, but it was already installed, so the install requires is still handling. But you'll notice that Flask and Flask WTF weren't pulled in at all. And the way that you select an extra when working with a package is to use brackets. So you can say like pip install dot bracket flask, and this bracket means install this extra name. So if we do this now, you'll see that it brought along Flask and Flask WTF. So that's, that's basically how you manage extras there. And maybe we have, a testing extra as well, which pulls in PyTest. This would be like completely unrelated to my package, but might be something that some of my development environment might use to pull in my test requirements. This is actually what PyTest is doing for this. So you can see PyTest has two extras here. These are both for development environment related things. These are the dependencies that PyTest needs to have to test itself. So let's say we, added that there, and so we can install, instead of Flask, we can install dot with testing, and that will bring along the testing requirements. In this case, it pulls in PyTest. You can also pull in more than one extra. I believe it's with commas. Yes, so you can see that it tried to pull in Flask, and it also tried to pull in PyTest. But that's how you do multiple extras at once. And it works with just, general packages as well. So not just dot refers to this package, but, if I wanted to install PyTest with testing, which is a bit topical here, you can see that it's going to pull in all of these dependencies that we listed in our setup.cfg for PyTest. So that pulled in, mock and argcomplete and nose and hypothesis and, all the things that it needed there. But anyway, that's optional dependencies in PyTest, or not in PyTest, in setup tools, and how you might use this and why you might use this. Now, of course, this is the non-declarative form. If you want to see the equivalent in the declarative form, setup py upgrade, you can use this tool setup py upgrade, which I wrote, which will automatically move from the declarative form, or sorry, from the imperative form to the declarative form. Setup py upgrade dot, I believe is how you run this tool. Oops. And you'll see that it rewrote setup.py and setup.cfg. So if we open setup star here, you'll see this is the declarative form of that. So you can see that you use the options.extras require INI section with your various extra types, and it rewrote setup.py to be this trivial setup.py. But anyway, that's extras require and how you can make optional dependencies in setup tools. If you have other stuff that you want to explain, leave a comment below or reach out to me on the various platforms. But thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.